All right, looks like we are here. Hello, hello, and welcome. Thank you all for your amazing patience. I have been in a tech, and let's just call it a tech kerfuffle at the moment. But I was really excited to come in here and share with you tonight, and we have a whole lot that I wanted to share. We have actually been enjoying our summer vacation with family. The kiddos are starting school very soon, but wanted to come in and drop some gems tonight because there is a shift. I don't know if you guys can smell it in the atmosphere, but there is a massive shift. And we have quite a story to share with you. We would love to share a little bit of our journey, where we started off, how we were able to cultivate our portfolio, and try and just give you guys a little bit of the step by step of what it's going to take to make some changes right here, right now, before the end of 2024. Because, guys, I have a bone to pick. I know that several members in our community, several members in our ecosystem have been leveraging a variety of ways to invest. Sometimes it's in real estate, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's leveraging strategies such as cryptocurrency. Sometimes it's leveraging strategies such as crowdfunding, alternative strategies as well. And although we recognize that there are a multitude of ways to generate income outside of real estate, outside of the day-to-day, what I'm finding is that our busy doctors are really concerned about the risks that are associated with those investing strategies. Okay. Although I truly believe that what worked, what got me here is not going to get me there. If I don't make changes right now in my current lifestyle, I'm not going to see the goals that I'm looking to see, right? That I'm looking to accomplish. So it's really important to evaluate where you are, where you're trying to go, because if you don't change things right now, you're not going to see, the goals that you set for yourself come to fruition. So with all that being said, I still think it's important not to necessarily go out on a limb and risk it all. I'm more of a, let me dip my toe in the water to see how that feels. And then I'll dip my ankle and then my calf and so on and so forth. We don't have to take massive risk, huge upfront capital risks, time, investments, emotional investments. We do not necessarily have to do that in order to see the rewards that we're talking about. Okay, so when it comes to making money using real estate, and I'm going to stand by real estate is the ultimate way. I truly believe that you can make money and make a difference for your generation and generations to come. When it comes to making money with real estate, you do not have to risk it all. You do not have to participate in a huge crowdfunding situation to get those bigger and better deals. You can do it yourself with just one or two properties. Okay. And hear me out. When it comes to investing in real estate, if you're investing without leveraging the power of a platform such as Airbnb, it's like you're trying to climb Mount Everest completely naked. Airbnb is one of the most valuable brands when it comes to leveraging real estate profits. Okay, so hear me out. We're going to dive in. I know I came in with guns blazing because I know that I wanted to make sure that all of you who are here tonight are ready to really dive in and delve into the story that I'm going to be sharing with you. Grab your pen, grab your paper. We're really looking forward to, walk you through what our transformational process had looked like personally and for the members of our community as well. So for those of you who are here with me, give me a hello. Give me a thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, give me a hello, thumbs up. Hi, Chuma, I saw you. give me a yes in the chat. I just want to make sure that we get the algorithm going. The more we can communicate and connect with one another, the more the algorithm gets going. I know that we're dropping a link in the Facebook group, so looking forward to those who can join us on the YouTube side. We're going to get all of the tech stuff figured out, but let's dive in, guys. So for those of you who have yet to meet me, I want to share a little bit about my journey. First and foremost, I grew up in Miami. I was born in Haiti. Went on, got the doctorate. Sadly, that came with $500,000 of student loan debt. But now we have transitioned from there after the grueling process of trying to work really hard to pay the debt off. Between the two of us, my husband and I, we had 2 jobs between the two of us. And so it was quite a feat. And I remember taking off my Dave Ramsey hat and putting on my bigger pocket hat. And you know what? That made all the difference. Came from working 5 jobs between the two of us, which was completely madness. And my goal tonight is to show you the path that we took to help you navigate, for those of you who have student loan debt, who are seeing that, you know what, I don't know what 5 years from now can look like, what 10 years from now can look like. And by the end of our session tonight, I want to help you to create that path to get your hands on the right strategies for you as we work on getting that financial freedom mapped out. Okay. So first and foremost, in today's economic climate, right now, I know personally, with kids going to college really soon, with our expenses creeping up, the pressure, I know that we personally feel the pressure to make more money has increased. And that's our political climate, our economic climate. So the key to really thriving when you're feeling a bit compressed is going to be, hear me out, it really is going to be a growth mindset. So it's not just about, okay, let me work 5 jobs to make money. That when I tell you that story, it doesn't come from a place of, oh yeah, that's a great idea, right? But it's really looking at opportunities that may be surrounding you to unlock those. So let me know in the chat, how many of you feel that pressure that you need to, okay, I need to figure out how to make a little bit more money. Give me a yes in the chat if you're feeling that pressure right now. Okay, I'm seeing yes, I'm excited. Hi Cassidy, good to meet you, friend. Oh my goodness. Love that you're here with us. Okay. Yes. Give me a yes in the chat. Awesome. Okay. So when it comes to real estate activities or real estate investing, I truly believe from the bottom of my heart, it offers some of those amazing opportunities that we were speaking about a little bit earlier, but with great opportunities, if it's not done correctly, there can be major risks associated with it, right? But the good news is we can minimize those risks. Think about, again, dipping your toe in the water before you dive all the way in. We're going to explore how you can start small and scale up effectively. Okay, so I want you guys to imagine starting with just one property and growing from there. It can be as simple as that. Okay, so for us, when it comes to leveraging real estate, if my kids were to ask me, well, mom, how would I invest in real estate? I would tell them to do it like this. I would say, if they ask just in general, what should I invest in, mom? I would say invest in real estate. If they were to ask me, well, mom, should I invest in real estate? I will tell them just to do it like this. And I want to share with you guys a slide. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. I would tell them to do it like this: analyze, acquire, amplify, and automate. This is what we have done since 2018. This is the process. This is the workflow. This is what our members have done and what they're doing. And with just 2 doors, many of them have been able to cut back on their W-2 1099 private practice hours, or take a sabbatical for a bit, take 7 months off, right? And then reevaluate and decide, you know what, is this the workplace that I want to return to? Is this the career that I want to return to? It gives them that clarity of thought. Or once I return, what type of impact do I truly want to make? Okay. So again, analyze, acquire, amplify, and automate. This is exactly what I want you guys to start considering, because again, you can take this real estate investing strategy into your own hands. You do not have to wait for a private investor. You do not have to wait for a crowdfunding opportunity to make this happen. You can absolutely make it happen on your own, and of course with the support of our community, which I absolutely love. So tonight, what I want to do is just to lay it bare in front of you, because a lot of us are sitting on opportunities, properties that are can provide us just amazing revenue potential, and we're not even recognizing what we have in store. So I was just on a coaching call, and one of our members is closing on a property somewhere in Texas. I'm not at liberty to say where exactly, but this is an opportunity that you would not have known is possible. And what I love and what's amazing is that this property, this home, has a purchase price of, say, around $570,000. We were able to negotiate it down to $530,000. And guess what? Based on the comparables, based on the information and the data that we have for that particular market, we know that this property can generate around $120,000, $130,000 a year. Okay, so it meets my criteria for like a 20% gross yield, but this is a property in a neighborhood that you just would not have expected. This is not a beachfront property or a tier 2, mount on the beach, or a mountain property. This is one of those unsuspecting properties. And so that's one of the pillars is, okay, how do we leverage one of our two doors? Remember, we're talking about the 2-door rental. How do we leverage one of the 2 doors to generate us that 6-figure income, leveraging the short-term rental strategy? And the second door, what do we do with the second door? Well, the second door is a midterm rental. And a midterm rental is a property that we rent out for 30 days at a time. It could be 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, and so on and so forth. And I absolutely love the midterm rental strategy because we're focused primarily on working with temporary housing agencies. We are working with insurance companies. So for those of you who think midterm rentals or those month-to-month rentals are only for traveling professionals, well, that is not the case. Okay, so start thinking about other avatars. There are over 50 avatars that you could serve with this midterm rental strategy. Very, very important. Very, very important. Once you have expanded your horizon, okay, you're analyzing, then you're acquiring the properties that meet your criteria. Once you've run your numbers, you're going to amplify, meaning enhance. How do we enhance this property to really speak to those that we want to serve? And then you automate, because a lot of our members in our community are purchasing properties that are out of state. And we are using tools to automate and make sure that the property is taken care of, the guest is taken care of, and we don't have to be there in person to do all of the heavy lifting, okay? So start letting me know, what are your questions that you have in the chat as I share with you a little bit more about this shift, a little bit more about this process, okay? So let me just walk you through way back when to let you know where it all began. I was this baby pharmacist, fresh out of grad school, saddled with $500,000 in student loan debt. Like I mentioned before, my husband and I, we worked 5 jobs between the two of us to make sure that we started to pay down those loans. But like I said, we quickly shifted because we realized, you know what, we feel like we're just treading water, but we're not making much progress. And so we were super stressed. We were super burnt out. We felt like, okay, the thought of the loans being paid off was just so far away. We started to feel like it was almost impossible. And so one night after a terribly exhausting shift, you know what? I decided I have to do something. I have to do something that brings in extra income without me punching a clock. And I decided that when I saw a quote from Warren Buffett that says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And so not having much experience with real estate investing, I was still determined. We purchased our first property in our neck of the woods. We set it up and we rented it out on Airbnb. It was just a single family home, 4 bedroom. I spent 2 years running the numbers to identify what I thought this property could make. Okay. Once I had run the numbers, I realized, okay, this property, whose mortgage was around $1,500 a month, could make potentially $5,000 a month, which was great, right? That net profit was really, really good. After all expenses were paid, we were expecting to take home around $3,000 or so. Well, I remember when we first listed it, the agonizing feeling of, oh my gosh, who will book this place? It's all of this work in vain because we were replacing flooring, we were doing redoing the roof, we had paint job, all of that, and we were just concerned. And I remember in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. we got a booking, and so that changed the trajectory of my life. This was the first time that we were making money without punching a clock. And the feeling was exhilarating. The feeling was so empowering. And you know what? We thought to ourselves, well, how do we do this again? Well, we took the proceeds. I remember the second property that we purchased was just down the street. We had $19,000 to our name. We put a down payment on the next property. This property was much bigger, by 2 bedrooms. So kind of significant, right? Significantly bigger by 2 bedrooms. Well, we set that property up, and I remember initially thinking to myself, okay, so this first property was grossing 6,000, so it already outperformed my expectations. The second property, I was thinking to myself, okay, this should reach around $8,000 or $9,000 a month, which is incredible, right? Especially with a mortgage of around $2,500 a month. So we went ahead and used the same um, statement of work, meaning we have a process, a checklist of exactly what it was that our handyman needed to do to bring that property up to my standard. We wanted hard floorings. We wanted to make sure the paint job was stellar, just a very neutral, beautiful paint color that really illuminated the space. It made the furnishings really shine. And once that was complete, we went ahead and listed it on Airbnb as well. But this time we were going to test out a 30-night minimum initially as we onboarded a new cleaning team. Then I use one of my technology tools in the automate pillar. Okay, you can see there, automate. There we go. Technology tools in the automate pillar, which was a dynamic pricing tool to price the property for me based on the market, based on what is going on in the market right now. And so when we turned on the dynamic pricing tool, remember I was expecting around $8,000 or $9,000 a month. Dare I think $10,000? Nope. There's no way, because who has friends who could pay $10,000 a month for a property? It just seemed unreasonable. I didn't know anyone who could afford $10,000 a month. So there's no way that I was going to go there. But I was thinking to myself, well, how close can we get to that? Right. So I was curious to see how the dynamic pricing tool listed the property. Well, surprise, surprise, I turn on the dynamic pricing tool. And if you're multitasking, come back to me, because at that moment, the dynamic pricing tool, okay, leverage AI, leverage the demand in that current market, leverage the scarcity in the market, leverage vacancy information, and it priced the property at a whopping $28,000 per month. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness. Okay, this dynamic pricing tool is completely broken. There is no way that this is correct. So let me go ahead and turn it off. I'm going to turn off this tool because it just doesn't make any sense. Before I turn off the tool, because I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to have to train it. You do have to train some of your technology tools. I'm going to have to train it, and I'm going to calibrate it down to $9,000, $8,000, because yeah, that makes sense. That's where I'm at. I'm counting everyone's pockets and I'm realizing, okay, no, 28,000 is a non-starter. 9,000, that might make sense for the right person. Well, before I turn off the dynamic pricing tool, the property gets booked as a medium term rental for 30 days. And that for me was the biggest wake up call, because I was ready to calibrate this property all the way downwards to $8,000. And that stemmed from me thinking, well, who has $10,000 to pay for a property per month? Right? So the little girl from Haiti came out, my money trauma, my insecurities, all of that came out, and it impacted my decision making. However, the AI and the dynamic pricing tool was not a little girl from Haiti. It did not suffer from money trauma or any of those things. And that's how we were able to get the property booked at 28,000, from there 22, 15,000, and so on and so forth. And that was the property that landed us on the Netflix TV show Buy My House. Okay, so on the back end, when the folks at AirDNA, which is a very powerful tool that we use, collected the data and saw our numbers, they sent out a casting company to cast us for the Buy My House show, which I thought was incredible. And so all of that is to say there is a guest avatar at essentially every price point. So turns out that when you're working with larger companies, corporations, it's going to be really important to leverage these types of strategies to serve them as well. So we essentially have two types of avatars that we're served. When we're serving individuals, that's more like a business to consumer, they're going to have a tighter budget because they're people, they're realistic people, right? But when you're serving corporations, they have a different type of budget. They have a much larger budget because they have to meet certain goals. They collect premiums per month to then have essentially a pot where they can tap into to pay you your monthly rent. Let me explain this to you. The two avatars that we serve on the corporate side are the film industry. In my particular market, not all markets have a film industry. Additionally, we serve the families who are displaced from their home due to a disaster, such as, say, there's a water pipe that's leaking, and it becomes quite a catastrophic situation where all of a sudden it bursts wide open. It starts with a leak and then it bursts, right? Now, this home is deemed uninhabitable, and that family needs to relocate to another place to live while their home is being rebuilt. That is a corporate type of contract. That is who we work with on that side of the coin. So again, you only need, if you remember anything from this session tonight, you only need 1 to 2 doors. I would say 2 doors. I prefer 2 doors to diversify my risk a little bit, right? You only need 2 doors to make a significant impact on your bottom line. And we see it month after month after month. Just last month, one of my colleagues is in Austin, Texas. Her mortgage is $3,200 a month. She's got quite a high mortgage. She just got a contract for $9,500 a month. Another member of our community just sent me a message. She got a $10,000 extension from serving a midterm rental client. And so we're seeing it again and again. Some of you may be in an industry where you're working with construction workers. We saw a huge infrastructure bill pass several years ago. And so broadband is being brought into certain towns. So that allows you to serve those guests that need your place to stay for month after month. And they do have a nicer budget than, say, the average Joe like you and me, who are like, well, that's not in my budget, right? So keep that in mind. So we truly believe that having a two-door strategy is one of the safer ways to invest, because you are mitigating risk. Okay, you're mitigating risk and you're taking control. It's time to take back control. I get messages every single day from colleagues right now who are really going through it because they handed money off to, say, a company, to say a crowdfunding situation, and they relinquish control over either 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. A girlfriend of mine, she handed over 200,000, and she started to get her returns back, and all of a sudden everything paused, and now we're finding out it's a scheme, and it's all this other stuff that is happening behind the scenes because she didn't want to necessarily take control. She wanted to relinquish control, just get her checks, but now she's like, I should have paid attention. I should have taken control, and I don't want that for you. I know you're busy. I hear you. You're totally busy, but I just truly believe that you cannot afford to lose $100, $200, $300,000. I'm just saying. That's just me, okay? So for tonight, I want you to start to think in terms of adopted. I mentioned adopting that growth mindset. I want you tonight to take a moment and write down one belief that you have about money that you need to change. Write down one belief that you have about money that you need to change. Because if you feel and if you believe, you know what, Dr. Rachel, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I want you to change that. Start changing the way you think about money. Start changing the way that you see money. I want you to think and adjust that to, you know what, instead of I don't have enough money, I want you to change it to I can find creative ways to invest. I can find creative ways to access money to invest. How many of us, we thought to ourselves in a certain situation, whether we're purchasing an item or trying to, get caught up on a bill, oh my gosh, I just don't have enough money, but somehow you were able to make it happen, right? Somehow you're able to make it happen. And so it's a shift. It's a simple shift, but I really believe that it can start setting the stage for you. Okay. All right. So from there, what I want to impart upon you is when we're looking at properties to invest in for short-term and midterm rentals, we want to focus on finding you need properties. Okay. Like hands down, I truly, truly believe that you need properties because 90% of millionaires are made through real estate investing, period. 90% of millionaires are made through real estate investing. Why would we reinvent the wheel, right? When the wheel has already been invented and solved, okay? 90% of millionaires are made through real estate investing. Had I known what I know now, I would not have subjected my husband and I to working 5 jobs between the two of us. Not only have we been able to cut back on working W-2s overtime, we have been able to leverage significant and massive tax strategies to still create income beyond what our W-2 income was in the past. Okay. So I know I just kind of said that jumble. So bear with me. English is like my third language, guys. But hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? And the secret to us cutting back, but still bringing more in to our household is understanding the power that real estate investing has. Okay. And in order to invest in real estate in a way that is going to benefit you and your household directly, you need a property. Matter of fact, you need 2 properties. You need 2 high quality properties. You need to find 2 high demand properties. And how do you find 2 high quality properties? How do you find 2 high demand properties? Well, the way in which we have been able to do it is by using free and paid tools. One of the free tools that we use is Zillow. Zillow is where we're able to put in the parameters for our properties based on the purchase price. So we'll put a ceiling on the purchase price. For instance, you can go to Zillow, put in a city that you're interested in, but in the purchase price, put in your budget. Say your budget is $350,000 or your budget is $450,000 max, right? Well, guess what? even if that is your max budget, I would exceed it to 400. If your budget's 350, I would go to 400. If your budget is 450, I would go to 500 or even a little bit more, because we are in an ecosystem where a lot of our members inside of our community are purchasing properties, putting in offers, and negotiating downward and still winning on those properties based on what the inspection reports are saying, based on how desperate the seller is, based on the number of days those properties are sitting on the market. Really, really important. Okay, so once you go to Zillow, you can see, well, what are those properties that are falling within my budget? And alongside that, we're actually using a tool called AirDNA to assess, well, how much can I make in this particular market for this particular property size? Okay, so again, run your numbers before you start opening your wallets, right? So I'm looking for markets and properties that can create a significant amount of income. I love the six-figure level. If I can see a pattern that there are a lot of properties that are generating six figures in a market, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. It's not a matter of I have this emotional attachment to this market or that. That could be for later on down the line, right? That's like next. That's a different level of investor. And we have a couple of those that are like retired, semi-retired, who are looking more for that emotional connection. But if you're looking for cash flow, if you're looking for cash on cash return, if you're looking for the returns, it's not going to be an emotional connection. It's going to be more of a financial connection, if you will. Okay. All right. So again, using tools like AirDNA and Zillow, you can start to identify the properties that are going to make sense for you and your budget. So jot down, some of you have asked me about other tools that I use to evaluate property. There is Data Rabu. I use that sometimes as well. There's Mash Visor. I don't like that tool. It's not the most user friendly. It may have changed. I haven't checked it out recently. So Mash Visor is a tool, but I want you to start to familiarize yourself. Well, what are the short-term rental tools that are out there that I can run my numbers and that I can use for data? The reason I advocate for AirDNA is because the lenders that we're using, we like to use lenders to purchase our property. We don't purchase our properties cash. We're putting anywhere from 3% down to 5% down to 10% down to 15% down, depending on which lender we're working with. If it's like a local lender, we can get some really good deals, right? So keep that in mind. The lenders who are going to be lending you based on the income, excuse me, I'm getting excited, based on the income potential for the property, it's going to use AirDNA. Okay, so you want to become proficient in AirDNA. You want to really have a good understanding of AirDNA because the lenders are using that too. Why reinvent the wheel? If they're going to use it, let me use it to make sure I'm prepared to get that loan to get it going. Okay, so full caveat, I'm not your financial advisor. If you're that person who says, no, I have to put 30% down every single time for a rental property, so be it. That might be in alignment with you and your lifestyle, but my lifestyle, what's in alignment for me is I need to keep as much cash as possible. My goal is to keep as much cash as possible. Okay. All right. So I'm getting like, let me make sure that we are still live and a-okay. If you want to give me a thumbs up, Riker, that would be great, just to make sure that, I don't know, I just had a weird feeling like, what if no one can hear me? You ever get that like suspicious feeling sometimes? Okay, so I'm going to keep going and hopefully all is well. All right, so from there, guys, once you've identified the market, once you are seeing what those numbers are, because we're looking at two things, right? It's like a seesaw, a double-edged sword. How much money can I make versus how much money I'm paying, right? And so I like there to be a 20% yield, meaning if I'm paying $500,000 purchase price, I want to be making $100,000. We're just going to calibrate it there. Otherwise, we're going to have to go into writing mode to share that with you. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit when we're looking to expand. So I'm talking a lot about tools as it relates to short-term rentals, because at the end of the day, my dear friends, I want us to be operating in markets where short-term rentals are permissible, short-term rentals are allowed. Okay. So that is the goal. That is the goal because it's going to give you the most opportunity to thrive. Now, if you come to me and you say, Dr. Rachel, like many of our members, I had someone come to me and say, hey, it's too late for me. I'm in a market where short-term rentals are banned. I have this property already. We're still going to work it. We're going to work it. But if you're coming fresh, you have not purchased yet, I'm going to highly recommend investing in a market that has a ban on short-term rentals. Okay. So really, really, really important. Okay. So understanding your regulations, we have an entire workflow that we recommend, and it starts with the regulations that are very close to the actual property. And that first regulation is, for instance, the HOA. If you're in a market and the property that you have at hand has an HOA, that's going to be one of the most important regulations to look at. It's called your CCNR. You want to look at your CCNR. You want to look at your bylaws to understand what are the restrictions for short-term rentals. Okay. And from there, you want to look at the municipality code. So if you don't have an HOA, then let's move on to the next place. We want to look at the municipality code or the Muni code. And the Muni code spells out what are the restrictions? Is there a ban or referendum, or is it permitted? But these are the rules. You need a permit. You need, say, signage, or you need someone local to help support the space. You may need, if it needs to be owner occupied, meaning you as the owner have to live on site, that's a non-starter for me. Unless it's my house hack property, then I'm good, right? And that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. And from there, we pick up the phone and we call the county clerk's office. Okay. And so once we pick up the phone, we call the county clerk's office. We want to understand and make sure that what we're reading in the Muni code or municipality code, we're good to go. It's A-OK. All right. So from there, we want to call the zoning department as well, because the zoning department has the very particulars of, okay, this road, this property that is zoned in this way, RSR5, they're going to be very much aware of how they are going to enforce those laws, those rules, and so on and so forth. And from there, I would even look at, well, what are some recent articles, online articles, newspaper articles, local articles, to see if there's a new person that's running for office, what's their sentiment around short-term rentals. And from there, once I call zoning and the county clerk and I'm looking at the articles, I want to understand, well, what is in draft, right? So whatever's in draft is going to give you some insight on the sentiment, on the short-term rental sentiment. That's so very important because it lets you know, are there a lot of haters drinking haterade in that market? Because a lot of times we're told by the regulating bodies that the reason they regulate short-term rentals and the reason they ban them is because it provides housing affordability crisis, it's a lack of safety, and so on and so forth. But we know that the hotel lobby is in their pockets as well. So that may be true in some instances, but that's not always true. So you want to understand what is the sentiment, because that's going to dictate how well you're going to live your life over the next couple of years, and how stressful your life is about to be over the next couple of years. Very, very important. Do not skip the regulatory side of things. And finally, once you have the information that you need, you then make your decision if you can invest in that particular market or if you need to expand your horizon. A lot of our members end up investing outside of their backyard because the regulatory constraints, the cost of purchasing, maybe a financial constraint as well. The numbers aren't making sense. The math is not mathing. So then we expand further and further out. And so that's really, really important. That's what we love to work on together. We work through a methodology called CROW, where we just go through a process of narrowing down to the specific two to three markets that will make sense for you and for your budget. Not everyone needs to invest in the same market. It's very, very crucial that you understand what are your numbers, what is your goal, what is your budget, what tax implications you can take advantage of, because right now we have a big one. We have a 60% tax benefit that can offset your W-2 income, your 1099 income, your rental income, your K-1 income. All that income can be offset this year at 60% if you were to start and purchase a short-term rental this year. Last year it was 80%, and that's how we started to see a huge wealth transfer, because it was 80%. The previous year it was 100%. Now we're down to 60%. It's going to phase out. So it's really important to take advantage. This is like a huge gift. This is where the average Joe can have the opportunity to play full out, and to participate in this wealth transfer in our current economy. Really, really, really impactful story. So much so that I know that in our community, our member Elena, I'm going to be interviewing her. She just did her cost segregation study. Andreen did 2 cost segregation studies last year. She's doing one this year. We have a couple of doctors. I'm not going to disclose everyone's name, but they're taking advantage. They're taking advantage, and they're trying to get this done right now. Now is the time. If you want to take advantage of this 60% bonus depreciation, now is the time to start putting your feelers out, finding the right markets that make sense to you, and developing the system to automate it so that you can leverage your cell phone. Okay, I have my ER docs. They monitor and manage their short-term rental business off of their cell phone, point blank, period. Okay, so really, really excited. I know Dr. Esther, she joined us as well. Veronica, she got an amazing booking. She's doing her cost segregation study as well. Okay, all right. So when it comes to, again, I set the stage for you, but again, it's going to be really important if we could just break it down into 3 or 4 steps. Number 1, identify your market. And we have a step-by-step methodology called CROW once you've identified your market. Number 2, find the right properties in those markets. Remember, high quality, high demand properties. And number 3, it's really leveraging tools, platforms, technology to help you to build that book of business, to help you to get those bookings coming in. And that is not just randomly investing or giving other people control. This is you investing in a way that is super smart, in a way that is super safe, and just really leveraging the tools in your tool chest to make it happen. Okay, so the last thing that I want to just kind of high level talk about is your avatar. Understanding who your guest avatar is, because for me, that is the secret sauce. If you can understand who it is that you're serving, it changes the game. First and foremost, in our short-term rental markets, it just depends on what that climate is, what the environment is, who it is that we're serving. But when it comes to the midterm rental market, we have over 50. I mentioned a little bit earlier, there are over 50 midterm rental guests that you can serve. So our primary is the homeowners insurance company. And the reason is that the insurance industry, I'm talking about Allstate, State Farm, Progressive, Geico, they had a surplus of over $1.03 trillion, trillion with a T. For those sitting in back, I'm going to say it again. The homeowners insurance industry had over $1.03 trillion by the end of 2021. And so what that means is their pockets are deep. Why would I play around with markets that are barely breaking even or just do not have capital, right? So I'm always focused on, okay, where can I serve where there's going to be a reward? And so the homeowners insurance industry is it. From there, you're thinking about, well, who else is coming into this market? So I want you to also have a secondary avatar, a secondary I would say a guest avatar that you want to serve. depending on that market. So for me, it's the film industry, and we even have a tertiary. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, we have construction teams that are coming in to build the data center that is in our market. Really, really important. So think about your market. Are you near a state capital? Well, we're in a huge political year, right? It's an election year. We have a lot of campaign staff that are coming near the capitals and that are supporting these political efforts. They're going to need temporary housing. So, say you have a 3 or 4 bedroom, they're going to squeeze in 4 or 5 people into that home for months on end while they are working. So keep that in mind. Who is traveling to your area? Who needs month to month bookings? Higher education. Are you near a major universities? We have one of the doctors in our community that is housing a whole bunch of residents or graduate students, medical graduate students. They have the same or similar mindsets and they're going through a similar program. And so that is also an avatar. So just look around. No two markets are exactly the same. Okay. But again, it is putting yourself out there, like it or not. Like it or not, when people think furnished housing, furnished rentals, the first thing that comes to mind is Airbnb. And so Airbnb is where we make that initial connection. And then from there, we can rebook directly. Okay. So hopefully, let me see. Okay. So let me see. I'm getting some comments. Cassidy is all in. I see your comment, my friend. So Cassidy is saying that I don't live in a market that allows short-term rentals. Yes. So you are not alone, Cassidy. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to see, am I able to, I'm trying to look at the scene that shares the comments. I'm not seeing that. Okay, no worries, my friend. So we would want to work with you, Cassidy, to expand your horizon. You would be a great person to go through the Crow methodology, because in Crow, you're able to walk through, well, what other markets are available to you. With Crow, what I love about it, you start off with 20 markets, and then we use a filtration system to filter it down to the 1 to 2 markets that make sense for you, that makes sense for your budget specifically. So really, really important. Okay. All right. So guys, we've covered understanding your secondary guest avatar, your tertiary guest avatar for your midterm rental guests. So think about, who are you targeting? Are you targeting families for insurance? I love that avatar. Again, I love that avatar hands down, because what we're finding is that the insurance companies, their pockets are deep, they can pay, but I'm also able to serve a family that is going through one of the most trying times in their lives. Okay. So this is a family who is in need. My mic is supposed to be down here. I just learned this, guys, that my mic is supposed to be down here. So this is a family who is desperately in need. They're going through one of the most trying times of their lives. So it's really, really important that you serve an avatar that lights you up. Okay. So for me, what's been great about this guest avatar, there are families who have encountered a fire, right? And the harrowing stories that we hear again and again is just there. It's second to none. You become a resource for them. You get to know them. They get to know you. You've created and you've curated a home away from home for them. There's nothing quite like it. And so I love that avatar. I love serving them. I love serving our film industry that is bringing a lot of growth to the Georgia market. I love serving the construction teams that are coming and building more infrastructure to our market. I absolutely love serving them. And so your goal is to really understand the different groups that you're serving and tailoring your property in a way that's going to meet their needs. Once you understand their pain points, once you can walk a mile in their shoes, you know what? You can then provide them a safe place to stay, a home away from home, and they recognize that and they're willing to pay for that. Okay. So I want to get the wheels turning for you. Start really thinking about who is it that you want to serve. Are you interested in insurance clients? Are you interested in traveling professionals, campaign staff? Are you interested in large families, business travelers, vacationers? Who is it that you want to serve with this next property that you're thinking of? Okay. And just start writing down some details around them, and write down what it is that you have to offer that's going to be better than everything else that's in the market. It's one of those things where you can no longer just throw a mattress in a property, right? That's old school Airbnb. Now you really want to cultivate and create an environment that speaks directly to that guest avatar. Okay. And so for those of you who are here with us and you're thinking to yourself, okay, Rachel, that sounds good and all. I do understand. I do see that there is power, with this real estate investing. I just want to remind you. So for tonight, we talked a little bit about cultivating your growth mindset. We talked about managing risks. We're not going to go out here and do risky things, guys. To be a fly on the wall in these groups that I'm in, it's not smart. It's not smart. There's no reason for you to put yourself out there and risk it all. Okay. We talked about taking back control. Taking back control. We shared a few of our client stories. These really were the building blocks that I wanted to share with you tonight. But I am not done. I would love, 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 love to take it to the next level with you. So for those of you who are like, you know what, Rachel, I want to walk through the Crow method with you. I want you to hold me by the hand and feature me as your next client success story. I want to take advantage of your expertise. I want to be in the room with you where I'm celebrating the wins of our members or navigating the challenges that they're having. We had a few challenges today that we navigated and a few wins as well. If you are looking for that tailored support on your journey, I would love to invite you to our midterm rental wealth retreat, where we are actually going to be doing the work. This is where it's full implementation. You bring your laptop. We're going to be in Serenbe, Georgia, award-winning, eco-friendly wellness retreat. And again, I will hold you by the hands as we go through the process of identifying your market, all the way to identifying your property. If you so choose, by the time you arrive at this retreat on October 15th, we will have a property under contract. However, if you already have a property, you're like, you know what? I am not generating the numbers that you're talking about. I need to figure out how to get there or reposition the asset to get there. That is the goal for you. So tailored to your needs. But again, this is not one of those rah-rah events where we show up, we have a feel-good time, and then we go back home and not accomplish anything. Your time is too precious, just way too precious for that. So members who have attended our retreat in the past, what they've said is that, you know what? This retreat has taken me away. It kind of plucks you away from the day-to-day grind of your work, kids, laundry, all the things. And it's in a safe space where I am bringing 3 to 4 hand-picked resources are coming alongside me to do the work, Marks, to make sure you're moving the needle. And by the time you get home, you see the difference. So members at our retreat that listed their properties on the top platforms for midterm rentals, by the time they got home, there were bookings and inquiries happening. Members who did not have property, instead of going straight home, they flew out to see property that they received an approval for while at our retreat. So again, this is the year of the women. No offense to you, my friends, but this is the year of the women. And I feel as though we need to start creating these spaces where we have the access that we need in order to move the needle forward for this generation, the next generation, building our generational wealth, as well as our generational wisdom along the way. So if you go to mtrwealth.com, I want to actually update the link, mtrwealth.com. You will have, hang on. Okay. So I have a book, but I want to actually update this, guys. This is preview mode. Okay. I think I can update it this way. Hang on. You guys are watching me fight for my life. www.mtrwealth.com to learn a little bit more about the retreat. mtrwealth.com. Yeah. Because I really want you guys to take advantage, because tonight's the last night that we are giving a bonus of a $300 savings before the price goes up. Okay. So